Hey, what is up, everyone? This is Gary A. Swaby, and you're now listening to the Powercast. And today we are going to be recapping Power Book 4 Force Season 3, Episode 7. And the title of the episode is Lines in the Sand. And I'm joined today by Mr. Richard Bailey Jr. How are you doing, Richard?
Doing good, Gary. What's up, listeners and viewers?
And I'm also joined by Miss Dana Abercrombie. How are you today, Dana?
I'm muted. Hi, hello. I'm alive. This was exciting. We finally got like good episodes, and it's at the end. So,
Yeah. Yeah, stuff is happening. So that's good. First of all, I do apologize for the episode being late, but due to certain circumstances, we weren't able to get the show out on time like usual. And plus it's the holidays, so other plans going on and stuff like that. So the next few episodes actually might be later than usual. So just bear that in mind. But we will aim to cover each episode as usual. So yeah, you just have to bear with us in terms of when it comes out. But yeah, interesting episode though. So I'm gonna get right into my takeaways because it is my turn to go first. So let's start here. um, so Stacy Marks is dead, and killing Stacy Marks might come back to haunt Tommy. I think this was a very bad move. He probably felt like he had to do it because she was about to arrest him. She was about to bust him essentially. So he probably felt like it was the only course of action he could take because Tommy's not the kind of guy who's going to let himself be busted right now, especially when he's already wanted in New York. And so they're going to hit him with like a RICO or like some heavy kind of charges or whatever. So if he goes down, if he gets busted, he's gone for life basically. So this, I guess he felt like this was his only course of action, was to kill her in that moment. But that is a heavy decision to make, and it is going to come back to haunt him, I believe. So he might have bought himself some time, but you don't just kill a Fed and expect to be walking around like living your usual life. Like that doesn't happen. So there's going to be repercussions, and it's going to come from many different directions. So first of all, Stacy had that emotional scene with her ex Bobby, and she told him everything. She confessed to him like, I've been a bad girl basically. And he knows that it was Tommy. He knows that it was something involving Tommy Egan. So when she comes up dead, he's gonna know exactly where that came from now. So that's one thing Tommy has to worry about. And then also there's Seng. So Seng, who is part of the task force, like he might now get promoted or something, or they might put him in a position of power or something to kind of lead the task force or take up where Stacy left off. Maybe it's a temporary position while they find somebody else, or maybe he's permanently taking that role. Who knows? But if they decide to give him some power, he is going to use that to get at Tommy, because now he is under pressure from Ortega as well, because Ortega wasn't warned that his cousin was going to get busted. So now they're on Seng's case as well. So Seng is under pressure to deliver Tommy Egan. So yeah, as a result of Stacy getting hit, Tommy has a lot of pressure on him right now. And that pressure is coming from everywhere at this moment in time. So I can't wait to see how these next few episodes go, because his back is really against the wall. right now after this episode. And that leads me to my second takeaway. So CBI is kind of folding right now. Obviously, the two brothers are kind of, they're at the helm. They're kind of taking over. They kind of made their play in this episode. We saw Diamond had a physical fight with Tommy, and I'm not gonna lie to you, Diamond was kind of, he was kind of getting the better of Tommy. He was messing him up a little bit. He was brucking him up, like so. Tommy, I mean, sorry, Diamond won that one in my opinion. But uh, Tommy Egan, shouts to my friend DJ, by the way, but he was saying like Tommy Egan was doing this like frustrated kind of fighting, like he was fighting with emotion, like he wasn't, he was like throwing these large angry punches and stuff like that. Like so he wasn't even like you can't even take his fighting seriously, basically. Like Diamond was just like he just felt it and he just whooped his butt, basically. So yeah, Diamond got that one, but it's not over. And I think the fallout of this whole thing is going to impact both Tommy Egan and Diamond, and CBI as a whole. So there's many ways this can go. There's many things that can happen here, but to me, it seems like Tommy is out of CBI at this moment, and Miguel is one to watch because I feel like things are wide open for him to kind of take over the coalition at this moment. Because although Diamond and Jenard are essentially like the head of CBI and the coalition at this moment now, if Tommy is gone, Jenard is back on the stuff. Tommy did a sly move in this episode where he had the hooker get him get him on drugs again, basically, and he did something strange in the bathroom as well with her. And that was a dumb thing to do, by the way, because you were at the club waiting for Shanti. Like, what made you think it was a good idea to go to the bathroom to mess with somebody else and leave the door wide open for anyone to walk in? Like, what made you think that was a good idea? Like, that was an extreme moment of weakness right there. So yeah, Jenard is back on the stuff, and his judgment is going to be all the way off. I think we have to worry about him a little bit because we know that Fenty is dangerous. We've seen a few people kind of pass away from hitting that Fenty. So we have to be a bit worried about your boy Jenard at the moment now that he's using again. Hopefully, Diamond will try and help him kick it. Maybe he'll send him to rehab or something, but it's not looking good though for Jenard. So I'll just say that. So Diamond has to kind of lead things a little bit by himself, but I think the stress of it is going to be too much for him alone to bear. And Miguel is kind of in a position now where he wants to take over the whole coalition. Like he needs, he needs more basically. So I think he might try and strong arm his way in. But if he gets any resistance from Diamond and Jenard, then maybe that leaves room for Tommy to come in. And because we're recording later, we have seen the trailer, and there is a moment in the trailer where Mireya is like, you need to work together. So I think it's alluding to Tommy and Miguel kind of joining forces, maybe to kind of like, get Diamond and Jenard out of position so they can take over the whole cartel, the whole coalition. So maybe that's the play that's gonna happen in the future, but we'll just have to wait and see. But I do believe that, although Diamond beat Tommy today, CBI is at serious risk of folding. And then, how could Tommy ever trust Diamond again after now knowing that he set up his nephew? He knows everything now. So I don't see any scenario where he could go back to working with Diamond and that trust being there, you know. So it seems to me like there's no going back at this point. So that's going to be interesting. Um, so yeah, my final takeaway, there's three wild card characters that, you know, I'm still trying to figure out what is going to happen with them. And, you know, these characters, they can either be the downfall of Tommy or they'll end up helping him in the end when it comes down to it. So one of these characters is Vic Flynn. Now he's this season he's been like a quadruple agent kind of thing. Like he's an agent of so many different people, and I just can't figure out where they're going with this character at this point. So, you know, obviously last week it seemed like he was making a play, like he was back, you know, he was back in the game, kind of making his own rules, and you know he had his own mission set out. That's what it seemed like after episode 6. But in this episode, you know, we see him have that conversation with Jenard and everything, um, and he ends up taking out his friend that he grew up with or whatever, just so he could, you know, blame him for the whole Albanian thing. That because I guess it was the Albanians that owned that bar last week, and you know, so the Albanians told Tommy what happened, and now Vic Flynn, you know, blamed his friend for it and killed him, and you know, served him up to Tommy, like, you know, for to basically settle things or whatever, right? But there's still that conversation with Jenard. So it's like, who is this guy going to be loyal to in the end, if anyone? You know, like, is he gonna be for himself? Is he gonna try and do something with Jenard? Is he gonna go back? Like, something tells me that at the last minute he's gonna end up helping Tommy. Like, something just, I don't know, just something tells me, because I don't see Vic Flynn really having an independent streak. Like, I don't think he's capable of taking power for himself. Like, it seems to me like he needs somebody above him to kind of give him that guidance. And I think there's part of him that has some respect and reverence for Tommy Egan, even though it seems like he's trying to oppose him. I think when it comes down to it in the end, he might end up helping Tommy, I think. So that's my thoughts on Vic Flynn, but you know, I'm still a bit iffy. I don't know. Like, the character's very flip-floppy, so who knows? The second person I want to say is Shanti, of course. So by the end of this episode, clearly it seems like, you know, Shanti and Tommy, like, they're kind of aligned at this moment, because you know, first it was sorry, the episode isn't fresh in my mind because I only watched it once, but there was something that happened early in the episode where Tommy was helping her out, I think. But then by the end of the episode, it was Shanti who told Tommy about, you know, what Diamond did, and the whole Jenard thing. So yeah, like, I think these two, now that Shanti and Jenard are kind of broken up, they're kind of done with. You know, she smashed up his car and everything. Like, that was a that was an interesting scene, by the way. Like, they spent a lot of time on that, like, just her destroying his vehicle. But yeah, that was interesting. But that is clearly over between them. So I think now, logically, Shanti and Tommy are going to be working together, because you know she still kind of runs the club and everything. So and Tommy needs any kind of avenue that he can get right now to push the work. So yeah, I think those two are going to be working together, and so I think that's pretty much a lock. But with Shanti, you just never know, because she could still have an independent streak in her where she's like, you know what, screw men, I'm gonna do this for myself. Like, oh, we're all women here at this club. We're gonna take over. We're gonna do our own thing. You know, she could still kind of do that, but I don't think that's the case. And after watching the trailer, I don't know. She might meet her fate soon. I don't know. I don't know. We gotta wait and see. Um, but we'll talk more about the trailer. But yeah, Shanti is definitely a wild card character though. Still, just because she's one of those characters whose loyalties have kind of shifted a lot throughout the series, and they could very well shift again. But I think she'll end up siding with Tommy. And then the final character is, I already mentioned, but it's Miguel. Um, so I think he's in a position now where he wants to kind of strong arm his way to taking over the coalition, so that so basically all the hard work that Tommy's done with getting people on board with the coalition, I think Miguel wants to benefit from that and be at the top of the food chain. And as I said earlier, I think Mireya is going to push for Tommy and Miguel to work on this together. But I still say that the the big move for them both to make is to take out Shay, because they could try and take out Shay and become like the main supplier, basically. But I guess in order to do that, they would have to kind of get the cartel that Che is involved with. Like they would have to get them on board somehow. So I'm not sure if there's anyone above Che that they could speak to, or if there's any kind of family ties or something they could use to kind of flip the script a little bit. But I feel like if there's any other move that they could make to get ahead of everybody else, that would be the move to get Che out of position and take his position, basically. I think that's like the number one power move that they can make. It's just a matter of how they could do it, because Che runs like a whole cartel kind of situation. So I think it's not going to be easy, but I think that's something that Ghost and Tommy would have done. That's a kind of play that they would have made together, like take out the top guy, and then they kind of take over the whole thing, the whole city, basically. So that is, to me, the number one play that they can make if they do unite. But their goal might just be to take over the coalition, and of course, that's not an easy task, because then they have to go through Diamond and CBI, and so that's going to get very messy. But yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But those are the three characters. I will say, in terms of DMAC and JP in this episode, it was a bit too happy. And when it comes to power, you know, happiness doesn't last very long in the world of power. So, I'll just say that. Like, I think somebody might meet their maker soon. I don't know. Like JP, it might be a wrap for JP soon, because this episode was way too happy. And the thing about it is, now I'm curious. Now I'm curious about, will DMAC actually go to college? Because if his dad does get taken out, he knows that his dad kind of wanted him to go in that direction. So will he be like, you know what? I'm gonna honor my father and go to college. Or maybe he'll be like, oh, I want to kill who took him out. But then after that, I'm done with the streets. I'm gonna, I'm gonna go enroll in college with Genesis. So, maybe that will be what he does, but we'll have to wait and see. But yeah, it was also good to see Kate again, because we haven't seen her this season. So she kind of returned in this one. But yeah, those are my takeaways. I think it was a pretty good episode. There's a lot happening now, so props 2 stars for that. It was a good episode. But now we're gonna hear from Miss Dana Abercrombie. So Dana, when you're ready.
Okay, so formulating all of my notes, I thought it was a very good episode. I'm slightly upset because I felt that they're saving all of the action and all of the things finally start to happening at the very end. And so this was the 7th episode, and there's 10. So maybe if this was like episode 5, you know what I mean? Like, I understand being slow at first, easing you into a storyline and the characters, and then we got to pull it off. But now my question, my fear is that will everything start to be rushed? Because you took so much time developing something, then it's like, oh, we're at the finale. This one has to die, that one has to die, this one has to go over here. We're setting up origins or what with legacy, so then that one over here, this one there, you know what I mean? So I hope that that is not the case and that it doesn't become too chaotic. Stephanie had to go a while ago, and she did. We all knew. But look, it's like a power history of you got to kill the cop, the DA, the mayor, somebody. Someone in political office has to go. And so I felt like it was her time. My thing is, I'm kind of conflicted on how she went out. Yes, it was very ego driven. It was very, I'm afraid I'm going to have the upper hand. Nobody's going to tell me what to do. So for me, it was like, I think it was that desperation of realizing that she could really not just lose her job, she could go to jail for this. She could stain her name for this. This is a huge thing where ego kind of, she relies too much on ego. She wants to be mayor. She has to be mayor. And even when you had the husband who was like, hey, I still exist. Can we have a family? What about our relationship? She's like, nah, I want to be mayor. She's too power hungry. And she acted stupidly. Now, I also think Tommy just got tired of a BS. This wasn't something that was, this wasn't something that was like very thought out and calculated. This seems like something that was just, I'm so tired of you talking, bang, bang. And with her, I'm like, here's the thing that I wonder. I'm wondering if this was all a setup. Because Stacy seemed to be like she had nothing else to do. She had no hope. And so confronting him could have been that last hope. But the fact that she went back to Bobby, we got that whole scene with Bobby, right? And how, oh, God did something. And he's like, what did you do? And she's holding him and hugging him and crying. I'm wondering, in my gratification, did she set up a plan with Bobby that said, if I die, you enact this plan to get Tommy? You can link my death directly back to Tommy. Maybe he was in the corner with like a video camera crying hysterically. You know what I mean? I'm just kind of wondering if this was a setup and she sacrificed herself. Obviously, she didn't go with the intent to die, but she sacrificed herself to get the setup. Sometimes when you can be remembered as, oh, you're the greatest DA ever, you got down that criminal Tommy who's been causing a ruckus on our streets, that is the big legacy. Then her going out in this complete act of, oh, look, she was working with Tommy. That disgrace. So that's where I'm kind of wondering where that have been. Because why include Bobby in that scene? Why go to Bobby? Bobby was the only person that I felt that she could trust. Trust with what? The information that she's going to give him. So therefore, she can get Tommy. So that's kind of how I felt about that entire, I wasn't for it, but I can understand how it came to that conclusion. I just don't like how it was executed. But again, this goes back to the old school Tommy. Old school Tommy is very irrational. He did not think everything out. So by him just, suddenly killing a DA, that to me is old Tommy. So I like that scene. Maybe we can get some more of old-fashioned Tommy. Now, going with Shanti. I loved Shanti. I was yelling. I was screaming. I was like, yay. There was a lot of screams that I did with this episode. I always felt that Shanti was the smartest one out of Jenard and Diamond. Heck, probably the whole cast. Maybe right up there with Tommy. I always felt that. Now, I had a problem with her being like, you got to kill a brother. You got to kill a brother. This was the one episode that really made me like her because I didn't like her. I felt that her actions, even though you could make the argument that they could have been very brash and she could have been, the crazy woman who was cheated on. She didn't act that way. I think she acted very rational. She was very upset, obviously. What happened? She got the little Beyonce lemonade episode where she's beating his car with a bat. But I didn't see him like, I'm out of the game or I'm gonna go and kill him. She knew, I feel that she's someone who's going to be very calculated in her moves, and she is going to move, obviously, without Jenard. And Jenard does not have someone aside from his brother Diamond that Jenard's not smart by himself. And we've seen him try to lead CBI by himself, and it didn't work out that way. He needs someone. He needs either his brother and he needs Shanti. With this whole fight, it does feel like we're gonna finally get the brother team up that I've been like since episode almost the first, second season at least. Why you let this white man come in between y'all? He don't even live here. It's not like it's like a Tommy Ghost situation with Kanan. Man, he don't know you. You let him come and break y'all up. The two black brothers standing side by side. You let the white man in. What is wrong with you? But I feel that we're finally going to get that team up thing. And with this fight, it was a fight, right? Okay. So with this fight, okay, I was like, with this fight was something that was needed for a very long time. And you know what I loved was how you could see Jenard in the background going, yeah, that's right. That's right. Mess him up. He got his brother back. And I think that's what he wants most of all. Yeah, you want the drugs and the power and the thing. That's great. But I felt that this is like what he really needed most of all was that union with his brother. And so by basically almost killing Tommy, but although he didn't, he was a boss. See, this is what makes it even more upset. You let Tommy like get some punches in. Isn't he a boxer? He's the boxer, right? It's not Jenard. He's the boxer. I would like what this felt like the whole what is it? Jake Paul Anthony situation. Like, why are you letting him at least get? He's not supposed to get the hits in. Tommy don't do it a fight. He don't. You got technique. Technique is supposed to beat street. What are we doing? But anyway, I am happy that occurred because now we're finally getting a union. I'm just interested, and I'm wondering how is D-Mac going to come into play in this situation? Because we do know that D-Mac ride or dies for his family. He's right there. Uncle Tommy, mess him up. Uncle Tommy. But the fact that everything was revealed, that, hey, we started revealing everybody's secrets. I'm wondering how D-Mac, if D-Mac even decides he wants to get revenge. Because remember, he's very hot-headed. Right now, he's going through his Superman phase where nothing is happening to him. So I'm kind of wondering, where is he at in his brain? He's gonna be like, yeah, you messed up my uncle, and you actually tried to kill me technically. How do I respond? I'm going to probably I'm wondering, is he going to try to come after the brothers? So that to me should be an interesting wild card, as Gary said. So for me, and then kind of lastly with this whole thing, the fact that CBI is collapsing also means that there's other opportunities for the gangs to be like, hey, how we doing? To like now to take their spot. They're weak. Are we gonna go and like do a whole drive-by? Is there gonna be a situationship where we gonna just blow up a whole building? I don't know. But I do feel that CBI, unless the two brothers are able to not just work with each other, you need more men. You need more people to belong. I think Shanti, I don't know where Shanti is in this situation in terms, because working with Diamond, that means that you're still connected to Jenard. And we know that Tommy, he's like, I'm free, I'm by myself, but you ain't got no peoples. So unless you want to like turn this into a weird fantasy where nothing is logical and he's the one who's now leading everything and taking over everyone's gangs. Where does this lead Shanti? Who does she have to team up with? And we know that she's been having conversations and she's talking with Tommy. But how does she genuinely feel? She's like, Miss, everybody got to die. So is she going to start crossing people finally? Is she going to like enact revenge and be like, hey, screw you, Jenard, and your raggedy bald-headed brother. Let me go kill everybody. So I don't know where she's at. I feel that she is the wild card, sorry, in the situationship. And I do look forward to what is next because it's a mess in a good way. We finally got our mess, but I'm just upset that we are in episode 7. That means we only have 8, 9, 10. 3 episodes. It's rushed. It's rushed. I don't like that. And I just want to say on a side note here that I have an interview. I'm going to be posting it up because everything got delayed. But we have an interview with Stacy. Miriam is her government name, but she plays Stacy on the show. And she breaks down everything as to what happened because it's a mess, but in a good way. So that's everything.
Oh yeah, thanks for your takeaways. Very excellent observations there. Big ups to Anthony Joshua for getting the win on Jake Paul. But yeah, I do agree that Stacy probably had some kind of contingency plan in place, and it did seem very intentional that she chose Bobby to confess to. She didn't confess to anybody else. So, she did it to someone she clearly trusted to kind of do the right thing after anything happens. So I think that was very intentional, and she probably does have some kind of backup plan in place. But we know that your boy Seng is there, so it's going to get interesting, whether that contingency plan gets to be executed. But go ahead, Dana, you wanted to say something?
Yeah, I completely forgot. I'm gonna let Richard speak because I completely forgot about this. Her and Singh, they never seem to be particularly close. And so that is why I feel she didn't go to him. On top of that, being in that position for so long, and she knows that remember, her entire job before this was working with internal affairs. So she knows how corrupt the department is. Remember, that's why how everybody was upset about her existing. So she knows exactly how corrupt everyone is, which is why I feel she did not go to Singh. And we already know that he has his own separate agenda. From my understanding, it would make him number 2. He's number 2, which now would be number 1. What does this mean for the cartel? We have seen episodes like, if you don't get this job done, we're gonna kill you. Him, if he is now the new DA, that places that cartel in a much higher position, because not only is he operating for his own greed, he's operating for his own life. Because I do see a situation where it's like, well, okay, well, you didn't make this right. We're gonna just kill you. We saw the guy come and kind of tease him before. We're like, hey, you like dying? Because we can make it happen. So now I'm wondering, for him, is he going to start doing things that flag the office? You know what I mean? That is a little bit too, what happens if we free someone? Or what happens if we go after this group, but they had no connection with, say, Stacy or even Tommy? So I'm wondering how well suited he is or how desperate he's going to become in that new position if he is the next attorney. So that is another, for me, wild card. He's always been a wild card, but now he's a wild card with power. Ugh.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's another thing too. Like, what is Ortega in for? Like, is there any movement to try and get him out? Like, or is he serving a life sentence or something? Like, I can't remember what he's in for. Like,
wouldn't it be drugs? Aren't they all doing drugs?
Does he have an active case, or is he just like sentenced or something like that? I don't know.
Oh, from my understanding, which is not good, he's already sentenced.
Okay.
Because it wasn't like he's going to be on trial. You know what I mean? They would have said something. Yeah,
Yes.
I think they would have moved differently. They're like, oh, he's going to be on trial. We got to get rid of witnesses. We never heard anything about witnesses or even a court date. I think he's already in there serving his time, and his time is long. So that's what I believe it's going to happen. It's going to be some kind of, how do we get him out of jail?
Yeah, because
And we have
I
seen,
thought
yeah.
there would be some kind of plan to maybe like overturn the ruling, or like I thought Seng would be trying to do something to kind of like we've seen it in Power before, where they retroactively change some evidence to try and get someone clear, or something like that. So I thought they would be trying to do more to try to.
But did he have the power to do that? And we all know Stacy's already compromised in her own head. So I didn't even see that being a possibility. But if he is number one now, he can make that a possibility without much retribution. Because Stacy, even before the situationship, was always kind of nosy in how the police department operated. So now he has oversight to, I feel, be kind of reckless with this. He can pull pardons anywhere, even if it's a pardon. I don't know.
Yeah. But I mean, yeah, like you said, we're at episode 7, so it's probably too late for all that anyway. The next episodes are going to be kind of rushed, it feels. So I don't think we'll see anything like that probably. But it was just a thought. But Richard, when you are ready, go ahead and give us your takeaways.
Okay, so first and foremost, outstanding takeaways by Gary and Dana as always. I hope my audio was clear because I'm at a remote location. But let's get into the takeaways. First and foremost, let me start by saying this. Shout out to Miriam Hyman, who played Stacy. As Dana mentioned, she has the interview coming up. Check out that interview. But I just want to say this. She is a phenomenal actress. She's great in The Chi. She's great in this show. When they had the scene between her and Bobby, and then of course when she told Bobby she got it, she'll take care of this. This is how I obviously knew as a viewer, that is it. That character is getting up out of here. But I will give them credit because the music that they played after that, it felt like it was a symphony orchestra type of music, very dramatic. That's why I say, yeah, they're going to take her out as soon as she decided she was going to deal with Tommy. So she did an outstanding job. So looking forward to seeing where they go from here. My initial thoughts on this episode, I do agree it was entertaining, but I agree 1000% with what Dana said. This should have happened in maybe episode 5, the mid-season finale. That was the moment to really hit things home and really change the course of the direction of the show. It's kind of hard to do that now that you're in episode 7 now, because you're expecting something to happen as a viewer at this point, because we're almost at the end of the season and the end of the show pretty much. So I agree 1000%. I wish this stuff happened sooner, but it was still entertaining. So as for my takeaways, first and foremost, where should I start first? Okay, let's start off with D-Mac and JP in this episode. As Gary already mentioned, it was good to see the father-son dynamic, them having a conversation, and you see D-Mac, finally JP accepting D-Mac for who he is, and then D-Mac bringing Genesis over for dinner, and then also D-Mac having the heart-to-heart conversation with Kate. I thought all that was great. I do, however, think that is a foreshadowing of something happening to JP, as I have said on this show multiple times. Now, we'll see what happens. And again, this is the problem with when you see a season trailer for a show, because you can you see certain stuff, how it's played out in the show. And then you're like, okay, now I think I understand how they get to that point. We saw that when we saw Bobby finding a body, which obviously is Stacy's. That is also in the trailer for the next episode. And then you saw D-Mac, Tommy, and others at a funeral, which I could assume is JP. You also saw that Kate was telling Tommy to get payback. So I can only assume, because of all the stuff that they show us ahead of time, they shouldn't be showing, something's going to happen to JP. But we'll see what happens. But overall, I thought it was great to see them have that moment where they're all together. It was a happy moment, as Gary said, to have closure. But again, we will see where they go from here. My second takeaway of this episode, need to get into Diamond and Jenard. Now, obviously, you both have already said a lot of great things. One thing I do want to say about Diamond, because we know that Diamond, obviously his attitude has changed as we've gotten deeper into this show. You know, the fact that he is always working alongside Tommy, and then he's deciding to do things independently of Tommy and with Jenard. One thing that stood out to me in this episode, in the previous episodes, you know, we know that Diamond is starting to get really heavily into drinking. And that kind of reminds me of OG Power in Ghost. When Ghost started to get sloppy in that show, all the stuff that he was doing, I'm like, oh, that's not a good ending. Now, one thing important that I thought was important about this episode is Diamond had a conversation with the CO, and he told the CO, now we're going to start moving fentanyl in the prisons. She didn't like that idea. He said, well, I don't care what you don't like. You work for me. You're going to do exactly what I say. So what I say is, because we know about the whole thing about how he had that dynamic with her, I personally think, like you both said, CBI is falling apart. I would not be surprised by the end of this season, Diamond is going back to jail. He probably isn't the one that's going to get taken out, but he is going back to jail because of the way that he is approaching the situation, all the stuff that's happening. Because again, the way he was treating her in this episode, it's like, yeah, no. And this is how he's basically treated everybody. You saw the previous episode, he beat up the guy who was a part of the team that questioned, why do we not have Tommy at this, when we put together this deal? You know, so I kind of feel like all that is leading in this direction. So we'll see where they go from there. Also, last thing I will say about Diamond, you both made mention of the fight. The fight was very entertaining, you know, and Tommy, let me say this, Gary is a little polite in what he said. I'm just going to say it. Tommy got whooped. This entire fight, he got whooped. Now, he fared a lot better than Jake Paul, okay? So we'll give him some credit there, but he got whooped. He got absolutely wrecked. It was very entertaining. And again, you see Jenard in the back. But it's, and I'll get into Tommy in a minute here, but I just want to say about that fight, I thought that was great because the tension was boiling. We needed to see something happen with that. And of course, I'm glad that finally Tommy finds out the truth about what happened with D-Mac, how this was all a setup. So I think that fight was needed to show you. But obviously we know, like Gary said, maybe the next time Tommy has an interaction with Jenard, if he has another fight, it can go in a different direction. I'm not sold. I don't believe that Gary. I feel like Tommy is outmatched. And you guys made the comment about, yeah, it was a dumb decision to take out Stacy. I feel like that was also an emotional decision because Tommy know he got whooped. Now he has this interaction with her, and she's telling him, "Oh, I'm tired of listening to you. Bam, bam, that's it. You're out of here." So very interesting. But overall, we'll see what happens with Diamond. As for Jenard in this episode, I've said this multiple times on this show. Chris Lofton is an outstanding actor. He clearly, in my opinion, is the standout actor on this show because every single episode, the way he really portrays the character Jenard, and you saw how he got set up with Shanti and the woman of the night, I guess you can call it. I will say this, though, because I saw him responding to comments when people were talking about as they're watching the show. It felt as though that scene where he's there with the stripper, right? It kind of felt like he was channeling his Cameron from what is it, Paid in Full? Yeah, it felt like he was channeling that type of character. Because someone made a comment about that online. I agree 1,000% with that. It was great. But yes, the interaction between him and Shanti, you knew that was something they were going to come to that point, and I thought they'd handled that very well. I do agree with what Gary said. The scene of Shanti destroying the Lambo, that definitely went on a little bit too long. I get the point. She destroyed it. That's great. There was no reaction from Jenard after that. At least we didn't see a reaction. So, but obviously Jenard, the whole point of to establish, and what I do like about this is Tommy had this whole plan where once he found out that Jenard was a drug addict, he basically got him back on this stuff again. So I think you're going to start to see this character now depend on other drugs as this continues, because we've already seen that in this show where he would take something and then he decides, I need to take something else. So unfortunately, it's not going to be good for, and then again, and the funny thing about that interaction between Tommy and Diamond after that, Tommy says, Diamond, you're nothing without me, so on and so forth. A lot of what Tommy said is going to be proven right, and I think that's on both sides. Tommy obviously needs help. He can't get that from CBI no more. Okay, Jenard is going to also be distracted, get caught up with the product, and that's going to be a problem for Diamond as he's trying to do what he's trying to do. And then I think Diamond's temper, also the way he treated the CEO, that's going to come back and hurt him as well. So let's see where all that comes together. But clearly, we're going to see what happens. And then, of course, with Shanti, I do want to see what happens with her moving forward. I just think it's funny how Tommy's whole plan was to basically get back at Jenard, expose Jenard. And in doing so, Shanti tells him, oh, yeah, and they tried to kill D-Mac. That's why I think it's so interesting, because I know he wasn't expecting that to happen, to find out that actually happened. But yeah, that's why I say with him pushing, and then he found out more than he bargained for. So we'll see where they go from there. And lastly, let's go to Tommy in this episode, Miguel and Mireya. Tommy, obviously when he finds out about the fentanyl that they decided to move, he wasn't happy, but he did tell Jenard, we need you to go talk to Vic to find out, because of what happened with the Aryans and the fact that he was approached by the leader of that gang. And of course, Vic takes out his boy as expected. We will see what happens with Vic moving forward. I did predict last week Tommy is going to find out who Ray is. And of course, that happened off camera. But yeah, Tommy knows. He knows who she is. And he used that against Vic. So Vic, I do want to see where they're going with Vic as a character. Like Gary said, they take a lot of back and forth with him, which makes you wonder what's going to happen to this character, because he already should have been taken out. So I do want to see where they're going with that. I will also say, though, in regards to what's happening with Tommy, after obviously he does take out Stacy, he does all this other stuff. It makes you wonder. I think Dana made a good point about seeing Tommy being irrational, making these crazy decisions. I want to see where they're going with that, because clearly now Tommy has nobody. This is why my name on this episode is the Insane Coalition Princes, because clearly I feel he's going to have to work with Miguel. There's no other option. And as for Miguel in this episode, he's getting ready for more. But I have to make this comment, because you guys didn't make this comment yet. This assassin that Ortega has ordered is absolutely horrible at his job. Terrible. And getting away with a lot of stuff. Obviously, you had the two guys. Yeah, we had to say that. Listen, you had the two guys. It took two guys to try to take out Miguel. One guy jumps Miguel, then he comes up and ends up stabbing that guy because Miguel turned. I thought that was very weak. And then, of course, Miguel has the dialogue afterwards, and the guy's driving off. I thought that was very good acting and dialogue by the actor. But it's like this assassin gets away with a lot of stuff. And one thing that I do want to see where they're going with, because then he calls Ortega and he says, hey, we know that Tommy is messing around with Mireya, and that Mireya is pregnant. Or so the streets are telling us that Mireya is pregnant. I do want to make a comment about this. Now, obviously, there are only a few people know that Mireya is pregnant. So that makes me wonder, is there somebody else that is working behind the scenes that is feeding them information? Because nobody else knows that, except for Miguel knows it, Tommy knows it, and of course, Stacy knew it before she got taken out. So, because that's very specific. Obviously, you've seen Tommy and Mireya out multiple times in public. You can assume, okay, yes, they're probably dating. But the pregnancy thing, that to me is very interesting that he knows that information. So I hope that that's going to be explained later. Otherwise, that's a plot hole, because that information is not public knowledge. So I'm just saying, I want to see where they're going with that. Last thing I will say, Mireya, she does get warned by Stacy about, is this a good life for your child? Think about this. Think about the fact. And again, with this show, I think they are foreshadowing what could potentially happen later. Like Tommy can get out of this situation, and then Mireya decides she needs to go away with the baby to be safe. I mean, I feel like, again, it's foreshadowing because of that conversation. Because then you obviously would be like, oh yeah, okay, well, Tommy wins, because again, they already told us Tommy will go on to the next show. And they probably shouldn't have told us that. You don't tell us all this information up front. But they told us that, so Tommy will survive what's happening in the show. But clearly, this thing with Mireya and the baby, I do want to see where they're going with that, because, yeah, this is Tommy's life now. And the fact that you just killed Stacy, it's going to get a lot worse, a lot more tension on you as well as her, the entire family. So I do want to see where they're going with this. But overall, once again, entertaining episode. We're waiting for certain things to happen in this show. I'm glad that they happened. I just agree that yes, this should have happened sooner than episode 7. But outside of that, great episode.
Oh yeah, I want to give you your props because those were great takeaways. But also, you called Stacy Marks getting taken out like a few weeks back, so you predicted that one early. So props to you on that. But you said some things I want to respond to quickly. Jenard definitely looks like Cameron in Paid in Full. Like they even look similar. So, like what I'm thinking is whenever they do, because they're doing a Paid in Full TV show, like 50 and Cameron. So like I'm like they should have Jenard play Alpo, which is Alpo is the guy that Cameron was playing, by the way. Like, you know, he's a real guy from the streets. That's who his character was based on. So they should have Jenard play Alpo. Like, I feel like he's the perfect person, like the perfect actor to kind of encompass Alpo's character, I think. So that would be great to see, you know, because this show is coming to an end. I'm pretty sure Jenard probably won't make it. So yeah, that could be what's next for him, maybe, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But yeah, and also that was a very interesting point you made about Ortega, like Ortega's people knowing about Mireya and the baby, because there's not a lot of places they could have found out about that. So is there a leak in Miguel's camp, or did another thing I thought was, did Seng have a bug somewhere? Like, did he have somewhere bugged? Because we know that Stacy, she knew because she went to visit Mireya and she, you know, had that conversation with her. So does he have somewhere in the apartment bugged, or does he have somewhere in Stacy's office bugged, or something to where he, because I can't remember if Stacy mentioned that again, but I don't know. Yeah, that's a good point though that you made. I think we really need to pay attention to that. The fact that they knew that Mireya was pregnant, like, because that's interesting. So yeah, excellent observations as always, Richard. And you know, I guess we'll get right into our question segment. But go ahead, Dana. You wanted to say something?
I just want to say, like, I don't know, but it feels like this is the consequence of rushing. You're throwing lines in here that doesn't match up because she found out she was pregnant. Unless we're like, oh, this is months later, but that doesn't even make any sense. She's not even showing. She just found out that she was pregnant. We do not know how far along, at least I don't recall how far along she is. She's not showing is the huge thing. So we know that Miguel is not going to talk because his whole thing is to protect his sister, no matter what. He's even decided to let me sacrifice my life so that Tommy doesn't die. So it's not like, oh, this is how you get rid of Tommy. So it's not even that kind of situation where he's trying to get Tommy. So none of this,
yeah, technical difficulties. Hope everything's okay. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
That's the view that Jenard had when he was in that mirror with that stripper, and then he turned around. Wait, Shanti, wait, baby, you're here. I was waiting for you.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, what I was thinking as well is when you were talking, is they actually spent a long time on that that stripper scene, like with Jenard. So maybe that's why they spent a long time on the car getting broken up, because like they wanted, I guess they wanted it to be even. They wanted the revenge to the act to be just as long.
Oh yeah.
So
That's
like, yeah.
That's a great observation. And I will say it is justified. It was justified that she needed to get some payback on him. So I don't have the issue with that. It's crazy.
Yeah, that really was a dumb move though. Like, leaving the door open like that, like so anyone can walk in. But yeah, so Dana I'm sure she'll be back.
Yeah,
but we could so I guess that's what I was going to ask as well about the whole mole thing and the baby. I think she might be back.
Yeah.
Are you back now, Dana? Okay, I think she needs a moment to get set up. But yeah, that was going to be what I asked about, is who do you really think is the mole at this point? Because like Dana was saying, like there hasn't been a long time between her finding out that she's pregnant and stuff. And real quick, let me shout out Tommy Egan as well, because he will be naming his baby after me. Gary the Mischief Maker, that was the name that he chose for his inevitable child. So, big shouts to Tommy Egan. You know, but yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of time between them finding out about the baby, and then of course last week is when we had Miguel finding out about it. So it seems like it's been a very short span of time, and she's not showing, so it's not obvious. So yeah, like it really limits who could have found out about it. And the reason I thought about the bug is because the scene with Stacy Marks was so kind of like intentional and deliberate. It's like, was that how they found out? Because yeah, but go ahead, Richard. Do you want to say something?
I think you answered the question, Gary. It would have to be maybe they bugged Stacy without her knowing. To some extent, they had something hidden on her, because again, Singh is very adamant in this episode, like, hey, we should continue looking at Tommy Egan, but again, they never showed us what this character was doing outside of having conversations with Stacy Marks, say, hey, I don't think that that guy is the culprit. I think you need to look into Tommy Egan. And then, of course, the interaction he had when they came to him and said, hey, wait a second, you didn't tell us about them arresting Ortega's cousin. So that's why I say it had to be that this guy was doing something else. Maybe he bugged something that she had on her when she walked to the apartment, and then she had the conversation. That's the only thing I could think of. But again, I guess we will find out in the next episode, because they need to explain that. I think that is something that if you don't explain that, people are going to definitely notice it, and they're going to say, well, okay, that doesn't make any kind of sense. I don't think it's anybody else. It has to be, maybe it's a bugging, but it could be somebody else too. I have no idea.
Yeah, there could be a big twist or something that they're leading up to. But also, like, do you think, like, let's say Mireya finds out that Tommy killed Stacy Marks, right? Do you think that might change her mind, or it might make her think a certain way? Because she did have that conversation with her, and Stacy was like, oh, like, think about your future and your child and everything. And even though Mireya kind of didn't go along with it, like, she stayed loyal to Tommy, but that has to be a thought in her mind as well. Like, is murder going to follow me everywhere I go after I have this child? Is this going to be the rest of my life now? Like, just having dead bodies all around and stuff. Like, so what do you think about that? Do you think if she finds out about Stacy Marks and the fact that Tommy killed her, will that change her mind in any way, do you think?
Oh, absolutely. Because Stacy Marks is not just a regular person. This is a person in law enforcement. So this is a high-ranking individual, also involved in running for governor, for mayor rather, of the city. So I would expect a lot of police to question. They're going to come to Tommy's place, maybe question her and him about what happened. Yeah, this is going to definitely put a lot of pressure on her, because this is not Claudia, not Claudia Flynn. Okay, Claudia Flynn. This is somebody who we knew that was going to get taken out. That Tommy, he had to take her out to avenge Liliana. So, but this is somebody who obviously has a lot more people behind her. So this is a much more high profile situation. So I would be surprised if in that next episode she isn't having second thoughts. And then also you add on to the fact that there is an assassin coming after her, because in the trailer it shows somebody shooting at her. So that's why I say all of this stuff happening at once, this absolutely should put pressure on her to really rethink this whole having a life with Tommy type of situation. But again, I do want to see where they're going with this, because they can still go in a different direction. But yeah, there's going to be a lot more pressure on her in the next episode, I believe.
Yeah. Do you think she might be like, because she knows that obviously Miguel is both of them are kind of running from Ortega at this moment. Like, so do you think that she might be like, okay, we have to deal with this Ortega situation, so I want you, Tommy, to team up with my brother Miguel and handle this situation together, and then after that, I think maybe she'll let Miguel do what he wants, whether it's take over Koalition or whatever, but she might tell Tommy, like, I want you to get out the game. Like, I want you to get out of this whole thing and just be a father. Like, do you think that that's a possibility? Maybe like she'll put pressure on him to kind of leave the lifestyle, and how do you think that would go?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Obviously they had a conversation in this episode where he said that he never wanted, she thought that he never wanted to, well, Tommy mentioned he never wanted to have kids. And she also mentioned that in this episode. She said, I figured you never wanted to have kids. And then Tommy said, well, no, because you made me change my way of thinking. So, yeah, I think Tommy he is very much open to becoming a father. But if you ask Tommy to give up the game that he loves, no way in hell he's going to do that. I don't care who it is. I don't care if Lakeisha comes back from the dead. If Holly comes back from the dead and they ask Tommy to do this, he is not going to do this because he loves this stuff too much, right? At least that's what I get as a viewer. So I don't think she could tell him this, but he is going to still do what he got to do, because what else is he good at doing? He looks at this as this is his career, this is his business. So he's good at it to some extent, although he can get a little crazy with certain things he does. So, but yeah, it's a great question. I'll be curious to hear what Dana has to say, but I don't think if she told him that she wanted him to do that, he is not going to say yes to that. I don't see that happening. Otherwise, that's it. That's it for Tommy on Power. Just go ahead and do the legacy show starring Tariq and D-Mac. So that's why I say, but no, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Tommy can ever leave the game, personally, but it would be cool to have like a full circle kind of moment where he reflects back on his friendship with Ghost. And if you remember in original Power, Ghost's whole thing was he wanted to leave everything behind and focus on the club and Angela, basically. So it would be cool if there was like that full circle moment of now, Tommy reflecting back on that and being like, Ghost, I finally get what you were saying, now that he has this child coming and stuff. Like, so it would be cool to just kind of get that as a reflection. But I don't think Tommy's leaving the game though, because what else is there for him? Like, I mean, at this point, he's killed. He killed Proctor in a violent, brutal way years ago, and now he's killed Stacy Marks, somebody who was running for mayor, mind you, which is a big deal. Not only was she a Fed, but she was running for mayor. So I mean, I just don't see how you could like go and get a job in construction or something after you did all that stuff in your criminal life. So yeah, I don't think he's leaving the game anytime soon. But Dana, are you here? Okay, I think she might be having technical difficulties at the moment. So yeah, we're gonna move on. But was there anything else in that trailer that stood out to you that you think you know is worth discussion or worth talking about? Or
Yeah.
worth a prediction?
Well, one thing I will say, and this is something that we know from all the other shows, such as Snowfall, the way they edit these trailers together, it could be very deceiving. In the trailer, it appears to me like well, you see that Jenard shoots somebody, right? And then you see Diamond also shoot somebody, and he says it's just business, right? When he shoots the person, that made you think, with the way the trailer is edited, could this be Shanti that he's shooting? Could it be the CO that he is working with? But clearly, it's somebody that they were working with, and then they decided to flip the script on him. So I want to know who that is. But yeah, that's the one thing that I do have questions about, and I'm very curious to know what the people commenting also think about that, because that stood out to me. Obviously, it's there to make you think, oh, this could be Shanti getting taken out. I saw people have already had theories. Oh, JP and Shanti probably going to get taken out in the next episode. I don't know about that. I don't know about that. JP is going to get taken out at some point, yes, but that just stood out to me with the end of that trailer, because that happened at the very end when Diamond said that. Wait, I think we got Dana back.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, sorry. I don't know what happened. Weird technical stuff. I don't even. Okay, we're gonna just talk because my whole thing is weird. I don't know what the questions were.
So firstly, what we were just talking about is like, who do you think Diamond is shooting at the end of the trailer? Did you have any theories on that? Because it sounds like he says the B word, so everyone's assuming it's Shanti, but could it be anyone else? Like me personally, I'm hoping it isn't
Shanti, because he said Diamond. No. See, B can include men as well, so it doesn't necessarily have to be Shanti. Who do we know that he has? Right now, we know it's Tommy. He could shoot at someone. Doesn't necessarily mean he hits him. Maybe that's how he dies in the next episode. We don't know. I just don't think that the term B is just for women, because a lot of people on the show has been moving like a bunch of bees, and they're not all women. So I feel that is one of the big things. Is I think that it has to be a man, and one of the people that we do know, or it could be, let's see, who could it be? It could be Tommy. It could be any kind of argument with another man. It could be a rival member. Because remember, CBI is collapsing. Maybe it's somebody else who's like, I quit. I don't want to be along with this, because we do know that their trailers are edited in a certain way to get us talking. But at the end of the day, it's nothing huge. And I think that is more something that is at play, that it's nothing huge. And we've seen, for example, as you guys brought up, trained assassins who are paid exorbitant amounts of money who can't even hit a target. Which to me, okay, I don't know if anybody else is frustrated with this, but they made such a big deal about Miguel possible death. Remember when they pulled back, Miguel realized what he did when he was sent the flower, and it was him like, oh, I'm going to die now for Tommy and the baby and for my sister. And then we saw the assassins come, and I'm like, what are we doing? I'm confused. This whole thing was just confusing, because I thought if you're a trained assassin and you're just told, kill him, you're not told a particular way, you're not told, who brings knives? Who brings a knife? That's all I want to know. Who brings I'm going to kill you. Here's a knife. I know Gary would, because that's all they can do in the UK. They don't have guns. Like Gary be like, I'm going to shiv you, bro. I'm going to cut you up. Like, this is in America. And we're Americans over here. We use our guns, darn it. We like shooting. And we like to see blood pop off. Who brings a knife to a big, strong man? I'm gonna stab you up. No, you bring a gun and you call it a day. Then, after the person is incapacitated, you could cut his head off, you could stab them all up, you could do whatever it is that you want to do. This has gotten really dark. But the point I'm simply saying is, why are we bringing knives? That's corny. That's like, oh, my house is being invaded. I'm in the kitchen. I don't know what to do. Let me grab the knife. Eh, eh. So, yeah, I don't think that the trailer is leading into something very big, because we have been fooled a multitude of times where we're like, oh, there's a big shootout, and we have analyzed the scene where it's like, oh, there's this big shootout. That means JP is dead. Oh, but Kate, what about Kate? Kate is dead. And then we get to it, and it's like Pookie on the block just decided to shoot at Wheelie, and that was it. Rest in peace, Wheelie. But like that ended up being the huge shootout thing that we poured our hearts and souls into analyzing. So no. Wait, there was one other thing that I wanted to say. I think I forgot what it was that I wanted to say. It was more about a complaint. Aside from the knife situation, I just feel.
So before you left, you were talking about Mireya. Was it that? The
It
Mireya
was
and
the
the baby.
pregnancy situation that just doesn't make any sense, because nobody knew, and we didn't see any lingering in the corner. And like, who would she unless there's a scene that was off camera where Stacy was like, hey, whatchamafface is pregnant, like she was telling the streets so that they would go and get Tommy. But even that isn't plausible, because her whole thing is arresting Tommy, not to get him killed. She wants to put the cuffs on him. So that doesn't even make any sense. So there's just a couple of things here that are just not making sense. And there are certain things where you build up to so strongly that when we finally get the scene, it's like, why? You're so afraid of this man who sent you a flower because you knew his assassins was coming, and you get knifed. They don't even get to stab you. It'd be different if like they actually stabbed him, like a good neck stab, but it didn't hit any of the big major arteries. And so he runs home to his sister and was like, I didn't say it. But we didn't even get that. So I'm slightly upset about what is going down. And this goes back to what I feel like they're being rushed. You're making it's like WWE. They're creating moments, not storyline. Moments. This feels like a moment. Oh my God, he got sent the flower. Now when it's time to pay up. And to answer to that, we got Dumb and Dumber over there. And 2 assassins. Not even 1. It was 2. Oh my gosh, I'm slightly frustrated. So that's my issue. And anything other questions that I missed?
No, that was it. Basically, just like, was there anything from the trailer that stood out to you that you think is going to be significant in episode 8? Yeah.
No. I mean, we see, my whole thing is, and I'm starting to get old now, that I feel that trailers are just to mislead you. Sorry, are just meant to mislead you. And so there are moments, obviously, when we saw shooting, but I'm okay. Things have been Jesus. Things have been like it. We've seen it kind of like not lead to things, not lead to anything. So that is my overall like angerment with the thing. So for right now, nothing really stood out, unless I'm missing some great detail.
Well, so hold on. You said trailers are meant to mislead. So are you trying to tell me Captain America isn't going to be in Doomsday? Like,
No, they're going to kill him off in like the first second. We all know this. We've seen this before. They'll bring in someone big and bad. Hi, Jonathan Majors. And then, a bunch of tiny, what is it, ant-men will defeat him at the end of the day. That's a whole nother topic that I'm sitting here and I'm like, I feel nothing. He has a baby, and there's the theories about the babies. But right now, we have been let down by Marvel, and the fact that they're even doing this and bringing back so many characters, including the director. This is all nostalgia. This is all cash grab. I don't think an MCU movie has reached the $1 billion mark since probably Endgame. So this is what it feels like. I'm very happy for Zootopia. Zootopia is my favorite Disney movie of all time right now. But Zootopia is a Disney movie and not a Marvel. Marvel is drowning. It needs some help. So, like, why not do the formula that worked previously? Oh, look, it's Captain America, but now it's a baby. So with this one, to me, going back with that, power legacy. Oh, look, it's Tommy, but now with a baby. Am I supposed to feel something? Because you have a kid? And then Mireya, what are you doing? Oh, I love Tommy. Okay, but your kid gonna die. Do you love your kid more than you love Tommy? Like, how does that go? That's a whole nother situation about love placement. Do you love a man more than you love a child? Even if that man could put your child in danger, forget you for a minute. Your child that you claim that you love is now going to probably forever be in danger because of who his dad is, which is, sorry, is kind of why Raquel made or said that, what was it? I forgot the gangster that she made her child be the son of, when it was actually Omar, because being the son of a cop and as you're as a dealer, that doesn't work. That's going to forever follow him. So now I'm looking at this. This is going to forever follow this child. So I just think that we're being a little bit selfish, but that's a whole other conversation about motherhood and stupidity. And did I interview the actress? I interviewed the actress. It's already posted. And she stated in a way that is kind of all that she's known. She's known that environment. So she's better prepared for that environment than, say, it would be an average lady who doesn't know. But at the same time, my question is, yes, but don't you want something different aside from the predictable? And that is my fear with this series regarding Mireya, even if she does live. Who's to say she could die and the baby could die? But then again, this goes back to what we said previously. Do we want that already? Because we've seen that already when it came to Holly and that child. So sometimes you write yourself in the box. So I'm happy that the baby is around, and I'm happy to see what they do for the baby. But Mireya is stupid. I think she'll warm up to me, and I can't tell you why, but I think she does.
Yeah, no, you said a lot of good stuff there, and yeah, this whole baby thing definitely makes me a bit nervous about the direction they'll take with Legacy because, like, okay, like okay, so I feel like the baby's gonna be born just because, like you mentioned, the whole Holly thing happened. So I feel like the way this is basically, saying, okay, now it's time for Tommy to have his child. So I think that the child is gonna be born. Whether Mireya survives, I don't know. She might die. I don't know, but I feel like the baby survives, right? So, but I am very curious about the direction they take with Legacy because with Tommy, like you just said, they're really painting him into a corner. And I think that's why the character's death probably has to come soon because I don't know where they can go with him too much longer because, like, they can't make him good. They can't make him leave the street life because he has so many people wanting revenge on him out there. Um, so he can't just go and live a peaceful life somewhere because there are a lot of people who want to kill him. And then you have the fact that he's wanted in basically everywhere. Like his level of want is federal, basically. Like he's wanted in every state, kind of. So because he just killed a mayor, and let's not forget all the stuff in New York he did too. So I mean,
DC, she attorney.
say that again.
She wasn't mayor yet. She was running for mayor. Clearly, she
Oh
doesn't
yeah,
make
yeah,
it
yeah.
to be a mayor.
Right, yeah. She was running for mayor. She wasn't actually mayor. But yeah, so like he is wanted. Like there's no kind of just chilling being a father for Tommy Egan. So I hope that that's not the direction they're trying to take with of him having a child and then trying to raise the child, and Tariq and DMAC are running the streets, like, because it's not going to work for Tommy. But then if he is active in the streets, there's only so much more he can do, in my opinion. He's done it all. The character, I feel like, is reaching his limits. I feel like, they're talking about the movie. I think that has to happen soon, and they have to kind of end Tommy's story. So I think legacy has to be the beginning of the end for him. But go ahead, Richard.
Well, just remember one important point, Gary. At the end of Power Book Ghost, Tariq became a ghost, right? He runs his business without having to actively be out there on the street. So maybe legacy is him teaching, hey, Uncle Tommy, let me teach you the game on how to run a business and not get your hands dirty. Maybe that's what that's about. Otherwise, like you said, I don't know which direction they're going to take the show in.
I I want to say that this is why I swear I hate when people talk, because in the interview that Joseph Sikora did, he stated that the movie would be his last hurrah as Tommy. So therefore, to me, he cannot die in this show, because it makes it really weird if he does die. Or we could do a situationship where Tommy is shot, he's in the hospital. The movie is about the rehab and him trying to change his life around with his son. But because of his past, it always catches up to him, even if he does retire. But then again, he stated in an interview, Tommy will always be a part of the streets. There is no retiring except for death. So my whole thing is, I don't understand what the point of this movie, unless this is going to be about him raising his son. And then what? Do you teach your son your methods? My frustration is that it becomes redundant. And I mean this with love. I don't want this series, this franchise, to become redundant. And like, this is the only option that they have. So that's why I'm slightly getting frustrated, because then what are you going to do with your child? Are you going to teach him, your way or the right way? And I know right has many levels to it, but what exactly are you doing? It just becomes an Avengers situation. When we have Avengers and then Young Avengers. Is it East Coast Avengers or is it West Coast Avengers? So it's like, here's all the drugs, and the whole family is just a thing of drugs, which is okay, but I bring some kind of something else to it. And then here's also another thing that I question about as well. Even if Tommy is guest starring or he only has a small amount of episodes in Legacy, you can't even bring his child in there, because Tariq and that child would be, there's at least a 20-year age gap. So that doesn't work. Tariq and that child, I don't see Tariq raising Uncle Tommy's child. He's trying to still get his sister. Now, he was ready to raise his sister, kind of maybe, with Tasha. And then we have to go into the whole Tasha situation. How does Tasha feel about this? Do you think he's going to stick the child with Tasha? Could he stick the child with Tasha? I don't know. Now Tasha's raising another baby. She's not exactly very good with the first two. The other one got killed. We forgot she had a Raina. She's dead. I'm not looking forward to this. This family's a mess. And then Mireya, I want her to live as much as Mireya's growing on me. But you see what the problem is? You shouldn't grow on me on episode 7 of a 10 episode show, and we at the finale. So I'm just frustrated overall, and I don't know what the direction of this is going to be, which could be a good thing, but I'm still frustrated.
Yeah, I believe Tasha has a new show, so she don't have time to raise no baby. So
That is true. She got herself an African.
yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I'm real. I'm kind of a bit iffy about it. Like I'm a bit worried about the direction of Legacy and what it's going to be because yeah, I just hope they manage to keep the characters and the continuity all fresh and adding up and stuff. So we'll have to wait and see what happens. I guess these next 3 episodes are really going to determine what we will see in that show.
But this is why I say you got to go out the country, and I don't mean London. Yay, London! But you got to go someplace exotic. One of those countries where there's no extradition. So do that. I'm tired of America, lovingly, but I'm tired of America. I want to see America's streets. I don't want to see the cities. They all look alike. I don't want to see that. Let's go. Let's go somewhere else. What's one of them countries? Brazil. What did the baby? She give the baby a shirt. Let's go to that country. I think it was Barcelona. I would love to go to Barcelona. I would love to learn how to play some soccer or football or whatever it is they call it over there. I want to see some sand. I want to see beaches. Go to another country. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, fair enough. A lot of people do want to see Power move to a new country or location or something. So, maybe we do get that. But yeah, so before we end off, Dana, wanted to touch on something. She has a special video to play regarding another upcoming spin-off of Power. So, Dana, when you are ready.
Hola, ¿cómo estás? We are entering in the world of Power Origins. And so I have a lot of mixed feelings about this. Of course, when we did our breakdown of the show, there was a lot of excitement because it's like, oh, we're going to learn who these people are, who raised them. We saw a lot of overlap when it came to Tommy and how he chooses women and nurses. And now we were Mireya, who is a nurse, and he's gonna have a girlfriend who works at the hospital, and we're like, yay, we got really excited. We got Kate. We got a young Kate, which this is what I wanted to bring up really quickly. I slightly was wondering, why did they remind us and focus us on Kate? Because they had that scene, and respectfully, that scene felt to me out of place. Like all of a sudden, I'm like, oh, is Kate? I thought Kate was doing the drugs again. And therefore she was like in the middle of her booger sugar, and she was trying to like talk to him, but was going to cry a little bit because she relapsed, and she didn't. And I'm so happy and I'm so proud of her. But then I was wondering, did they do that scene specifically because of Origins? I don't know, but I did wonder that. So I'm happy to see Kate is alive and well, and the steps are working, and she's not rushing to see anybody. Anyway, so I'm wondering, how does she play into this family, and how does that work? I wonder also how, when we looked at this before, with how Ghost and Tommy are going to interact with each other along with Kanan. We saw the photos of how Spencer Moore looked. And for me, I wasn't feeling it. I don't think everyone here was completely feeling it. We was a little lukewarm. They recently shot a video that this goes to all credit to Power Chronicles. But they shot the video of them doing the scene. I think they're over in New Jersey, because we did say that Power Origins was going to film in New Jersey. And I just want to look at this scene really quickly and ask everyone, does this feel like a Ghost to you? Because when I saw this, I had a riot in my brain. So that scene was basically, I'm going to assume, which is always a good or a bad thing, is that he was talking to his crew. That's Spencer Moore as Ghost. He's talking to his crew. I did hear him say brothers leaders. So he's addressing them. Maybe kind of similar as like, lend me your ears at Shakespeare. But this is a position where he looks like he is of authoritative. He's of power. He's talking to these guys. They either maybe fear or respect him. I don't know. But from just that scene alone, I did not get the essence of Ghost. Now, I know it takes a lot of time for childhood you to become adult you, but this had absolutely no essence at all. And we're not even going to bring up the fact it don't even look like Ghost. Omari Hardwick is caramel. This man is a delicious chocolate. But I'm confused about what is going on. So I would love to know your opinions, Gary and Richard, on what did you think when you saw this scene? Does this man even look like he is of the Power universe, the major player, Ghost, the one who, the original of the originals? Does he look like him? Because I don't see it.
Did you want to go first, Richard?
Oh no, you go first, Gary.
Okay, yeah. So my thing on it is, no, he doesn't look like Ghost at all, or how I envision a young Ghost. Like he's definitely nothing like Omari. But what I think is that Stars wants to rewrite everybody's image of Ghost, of who Ghost is and was, because clearly there was some sort of fallout with Omari. So I think Stars would like to, you know, reframe who the Ghost character is a little bit in terms of how he looks like. So I think they're trying to retcon Ghost completely. I think they don't really want us to remember Ghost as Omari. They want to kind of now create a new image of who Ghost was. So I think this is what they're doing. I don't think they're intentionally trying to make him look like Ghost or act like Ghost. I think they're just like, look, this is young Ghost. Enjoy it for what it is. It's not it doesn't look anything like Omari. It's going to be different from what you expected, but this is the vision of what we're going for now with the Ghost character. So I think that's really what they're doing with this, to be honest. I think they're just going in a new direction. Me personally, I would have liked to have seen them keep the continuity, but just from everything we've been hearing and seeing from this origin show, I think they're retconning a lot of things. It even seems like they might be retconning the age difference between Kanan, Ghost, and Tommy. So yeah, I mean, I guess they're just going in a new direction. I mean, it's like the movies. Like sometimes after decades and stuff, they come out with prequel versions of older movies, or they come out with remakes, and they change things. They change things from the original and do different things. So I think this is just what Stars is doing. So yeah, but Richard, what do you think?
Oh, Gary, I think that was a very nice answer that you provided. Very polite. Um, my response is absolutely not. This does not look like Ghosts. You and I complained about this before when we saw the image and said, this is not the old. Well, obviously, listen, it makes sense what you said, Gary. They could be trying to say we want to separate ourselves from what Ghost was before, but you cannot deny, as a Power fan, how important Omari was to the show. So that's why I say, I mean, I'm still going to watch the show. I do believe that Sasha Penn, obviously, he's doing something right, because Razor Kanan is the best spinoff that they've had. So I still believe the show can be good, but in terms of this character being Ghost, I don't see it right now. I need to see a lot more. Maybe if I see some more footage, maybe if I see how they put the show together, I can come to a conclusion and say, okay, I can see how they can make this work. But I can't see it right now, and that's okay. from the other castings that we spoke about on the previous episode, I do think that the Kate casting was phenomenal. I think that Tommy and Kate, yeah, I could see that. I could see, and these other characters are interesting as well. But I definitely want to see what the intent was with how they decided to put Ghost into play with Spence. And I know Spence is a great actor, so this isn't about his acting ability. This is not about it whatsoever. I'm just talking about appearance wise. Obviously looks different from what you remember of Ghost. So I do want to see what the reasoning for that is. But I will just say I need to see more. But I'm not sold on that clip. Wait, you're muted, Dana.
Am I muted? Okay. So for me, I understand not being able to cast solely because of looks and bring talent. That's a lot of qualities that you have to have at once. I think they got really lucky with Mackay. Mackay looks like 50. He changed his voice because he doesn't sound like that in real life. When he's speaking and talking, it's very like, who are you? But he changed his voice to kind of match 50s and the kind of the tone that Kanan has. And it's very hard to get someone who happens to look and is capable of sounding like you. My whole thing is and we have to wait until we see the final product. Obviously, I don't even get the essence of like you're not, ghost, but you feel like a ghost to me. You could be somebody's ghost. But it's more of like maybe if in like Ghost Earth 88 or something. But I'm not feeling that right now at all. Even when we saw him speaking with like, kind of authority and power, it was like, yeah, this sounds like another spinoff. You feel like Ghost, this is the guy Ghost would be in competition with as a teenager. Still completely different people. And I hope that I'm wrong. I think what was said previously about going in a different direction and kind of changing the legacy of Ghost would anger a lot of fans to the point where they will not watch the show. And I definitely hope that that is not the case. I hope that this is not an ego-driven casting. Certain egos get into play, and because you had an argument with them before, now they're going to get back at you by messing up the casting and not involve you at all in the show. So I definitely hope that that is not the situation. I do think that, as you guys stated before, Sasha Penn, you guys already know, I have a love for Sasha Penn's work when it comes to what he's done to the Power universe. I loved what he did with Raising Kanan. I strongly believe in him. So I do feel that I could be overreacting. And again, nobody's seen anything yet. So that could be that could happen. But just right now, I'm like, But if I am proven wrong, I will definitely admit it. I will grovel. I will fall down at the knees and say, hey, I was wrong. So wrong. This is the greatest thing ever. So I hope to be proven wrong. But from what we were shown, I'm very happy we got to see something. I would have to see more. And obviously we wasn't even supposed to see that because that was like behind the scenes in terms of like, they're still filming. We're fine. But like, they're still filming. So at least we know that it's in production. They're doing some things. It's in Jersey. I can't get to Jersey, or else I would be right there with the binoculars and the camera. But but we're going to a different state. That's a good thing, Jersey. Which kind of makes me wonder: is this going to be more of a Tommy-driven show? Because wasn't Tommy from Jersey?
I think they say he's from Queens, but like I was going to ask you about that. Do you think like because they might be filming in Jersey, but the show might actually still be set in Queens? Because like sometimes they just shoot in different locations, but they try to pass it off like it's New York still.
That's true. Yeah. There is a studio in Jersey, so yeah, you could be completely right about that. So we will see. We will see what happens. And I'm okay with Jersey. It's a tri-state. It's still, a cousin of New York.
Yeah. But yeah, Any more thoughts on Origins, Richard, before we end off here?
Let me just say this, and this is just obviously a joke, so hopefully nobody takes it serious. As Dana said, yeah, we need to see more, but I will laugh because we know how Sasha Penn does these shows. You have these surprise things where a character supposedly gets it, taken out, and then that character comes back later. I will laugh if this character you watch episode 1, you see them doing all these interactions, and then at the end of the episode, he gets taken out by another actor who is actually the person they want to play Ghost. I would laugh if they did that, because that would just be absolutely ridiculous. But no, let's just wait and see more. But I would laugh.
Wait,
What's
are
that?
you saying that he was originally named Ghost, and then he killed him,
Yeah,
and then stole the name?
absolutely, because you
And
made
like,
the
I'm a
comment.
ghost now.
Yeah, because you
That
made the
would be the
comment.
greatest plot twist.
Oh yeah, no, because you made the comment that this person could be in competition with Ghost. So yeah, I would love if that's what happened, and then all of a sudden they introduce this other guy. That's Ghost. Okay, yeah, very interesting. I don't think they're going to do that, but that would be
Okay,
hilarious.
so now you've just changed the entire direction of like, does this feel like Ghost, or is Spencer Moore really playing Ghost? You threw me for a curveball. So now that's the real question. As a viewer, would it be more exciting to know that they're keeping the real Ghost under wraps, so that there is a plot twist where there's a guy who is originally named Ghost is murdered by St. Patrick?
Yep.
I forgot what his first name is.
James.
Is murdered who? Oh, James is
Yep.
murdered by James St. Patrick. He's known on the streets as James, or even Saint. And Breeze is like, you have to take out this guy named Ghost. And then he does, is like, you the Ghost now.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Look
That'd
at
be
you
great.
being the writer.
I would
He's
love
coming
that.
for your job, Gary.
No, yeah, that I would love that swerve. But I do want to shout out Spencer Moore, because this isn't no disrespect to him. Like he looks like a great actor, but yeah, it's just that us fans, we're loyal to the series, and we want to see what we saw in the past fulfilled in this prequel. So yeah, that's all it is. But I love that swerve. Like that would be amazing. That would be like the best TV swerve of all time. Like, but yeah, go ahead.
Gosh, I keep getting muted. That is kind of everything in regards of that. And also let us know what you think of Richard's theory, which like blew my mind and is now going to be a talking point in all of my conversationships about this series. This is amazing. I am way more interested now that you said that. Give me what Richard said, Sasha Penn, if you're watching. Rewrite the entire scripts and give me that. And this is no disrespect to Spencer Moore. We've seen plot twists. Remember Scream franchise? We thought it was going to be about Drew Barrymore. The lady died in the first 1 minute of the movie. So give us a Scream. This is our Scream. I love this. So yeah, let us know what you think. And I hand the reins back over to Mr. Schweber.
Thank you. But yeah, I mean, any final thoughts regarding Force before we end off here? Obviously, the next episode is episode 8. We've seen the trailer, but are there any predictions or anything that you want to say ahead of the next episode? So I'm going to go to you first, Richard.
Oh no, I'll just say I'm looking forward to the next episode. Do want to see where they're going with everything. Yeah, but we'll find out soon. It's this week, so we'll get our answers very soon.
Yeah. How about you, Dana?
No, this seems to be really good. I'm just upset that they waited into the 7th episode for it to be good. I'm waiting to see the ramifications of this episode. We need some ramifications. And also, what is it like to kill not only one, but 2 of your assassins? What does that do for what is it, Marquez, the one who is it, Ortez, the guy who's in prison who ordered the assassinations.
Ortega.
I'm kind of Ortega. Is Ortega the same guy that is blackmailing the officer who works with Stacy?
Yeah, I mean they've threatened him now because
Okay, but you see how this works? Do you see how this could actually be a good thing? Okay, look. Ortega, his men is being killed, right? By Tommy, by Miguel. Sorry, by Miguel. If that is the case, and we know that that guy Sung is being blackmailed, right? And if he does become the next attorney general, he could, hey, he's free now. Does this mean that Ortega will pull a whole Thanos and be like, fine, I'll do it myself? And then he comes after Miguel. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Maybe?
Yeah, I mean that's what I would like to see. I would like to see Ortega get out, but like I mean, like we're saying, it's episode 7. Like it's just gonna feel rushed at this point if that happens. But yeah, because this whole season they've been fighting Ortega and he's locked up, so it's like it's only so far it could go, you know.
But everything felt rushed. Even and also going back, not to like just for because you asked for final thoughts. The whole situation with Jenard in the bathroom with that lovely lady of the night, in the day, in the morning, in the afternoon. That scene, he was high. And so it felt like to me, him going back on the drugs felt rushed. So I feel like if Ortega is free, that would just go with the theme of the show being rushed. So I'm kind of like okay with that. Because that entire bathroom situation, not only was it rushed, it felt irrational. And I know that he was like, baby, please, I'm lonely, I miss you. That whole situation, and he gave like his explanation, but Shanti was right. It wasn't even like a whole day or a week. She said she needed space and it was a couple hours. And he's all like, oh, but she over here and her hole was open. And I'm just like slightly confused about kind of his desperation in that moment. And you could tell by the how do I put it, the atmosphere and the speed of the bathroom movements. It was something out of anger. This was something that was building up for a while. And we've known for a while that he has always been told that he was less than. So even if he kind of got that vibe with Shanti, it's like, you ain't doing it yet. It's because you punk. Like, what? So I kind of feel that the bathroom situation, even though that part wasn't rushed because you could make the argument, it's hard. It's like it was rushed, but it was like an accumulation of not feeling like a man. So he went to her and was like, I feel like a man now. And then he talked about it in an interview. He was like, I had my leg up on the wall and on top of the sink. And so it was a real like guttural moment for him. So that was out of not just anger for Shanti. I think that it was anger from season 1 of him and the brother not being able to work together. And so he took it out on her. But the whole thing with the drug situation, just I guess you could make the argument that is also why he did it, but it still kind of felt rushed. So I'm trying to figure out if that scene was too over the top. Cause I don't know. Cause Shanti was like, it's been 2 hours, but for him, it's been since season 1. So I don't know. I feel like I lost some train of thought there, but yeah, those are my overall thoughts.
Yeah. I think you do make a point there that there are other elements that have been kind of rushed. So I mean, Ortega getting out, we could get that even if it is rushed. I mean, let's say he gets out at the end of episode 8 or something, then we have 2 episodes of him. So I guess it could happen. You know, I think as long as it's well explained of how he gets out, then they can run with it, maybe. But we'll have to wait and see because there's so many directions they could take this in right now. So we'll wait and see. But yep. Apologies for the late episode again, everybody. And be prepared for the next few to be late as well. It is Christmas this week also. It's going to be my birthday also later this week, you know, Christmas Day. So yeah, a lot of family things happening and stuff. So yeah, the next few episodes probably going to be late. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But thanks for listening, and you know, I look forward to seeing everybody's thoughts and theories on this episode. And yeah, take care and enjoy the holidays, everyone, and stay safe out there. You know, there's a lot of bugs and colds and flus and viruses going around, so everybody be safe, take care of yourself, you know, be healthy, and we'll see you next week.